Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And welcome everybody, another amazing Spiritual Rockstar Podcast show. We've got another incredible person here, another being, incredible guest that's here for the Energy Scan show and to share. You're going to learn about her and her magic. She's, at a minimum, if you're watching through YouTube or something, you got to see the phases of the moon here and behind in her background. I mean, that's the least of it, but it says so much about her, actually, in my opinion. There's so much deep magic and mysterious, beautiful energy and heart-centered energy that this being brings forth. And she has incredible skills and abilities to communicate, be even a mediumship and things like that. Tune in, download all kinds of things, all kind of magical healings for your relationships and health and all that stuff she's done. She's done all kinds of healing and tuning in for people. So you're going to want to learn more about her and about the way she approaches things with healing and what she's up to, what she stands for, that we want to get behind it. Don't we, spiritual rock stars? Yes. All right. Okay. Welcome to the show, Jenny.
Thank you so much for having me here, Daniel. I'm so grateful. I love talking with you.
Likewise. It's always awesome. It's always fun. Let me tell them about you. Just real briefly, I said she's got a lot of wonderful things we could have said, but she kept her bio nice and brief for you today. We'll get into even more of her awesome sauce into the show. Jenny in healing 7 years of diseases in 3 weeks. Again, she's 7 years of diseases were cleared. In just 3 weeks, awakened her purpose. So all this massive healing. So she's definitely a healing force for herself and others. She is an author, speaker, teacher, and healer, inspiring self-love and manifesting the life we desire. Jenny offers many easy tools to tap into our unlimitedness of being. She helps people remove blocks and restrictions to attract relationships and life circumstances aligned with our higher selves. Amen. So Jenny, let's talk a little bit about your current work, because it's evolved over the years. And I know you used to have a strong practice with helping people with things like cancer and all that, correct?
I did. For about 15 years, my focus was on late stage cancer clients and clients with chronic illnesses. And I used a lot of the same tools I'm using now, but in a very different capacity: Akashic records, energy healing, self-talk. I worked with the families as well to cope with illness, because when someone gets sick, it doesn't just affect them. It affects obviously the whole family and dynamic. So yeah, I had been doing that for 15 years and recently had that shift. The universe shows us little signs and then eventually will hit us over the head if we're not paying attention. So kind of had that happen. My mom actually had gotten ill with cancer and I was her sole caregiver for 9 months. And while she was very, very ready to transition, kind of grew up with her saying she'd never lived to be old. In her mind, old was 70. She went at 69. So very much, and she missed my stepdad. There are a lot of reasons why she was really ready to go. But that process was very challenging for me. And when I went back to working with primarily cancer clients, I got very triggered. I would remember the time, those 9 months with my mom, instead of remembering all the love and unconditional love and goodness that we had between us, and just really got that nudge that it was time to move on to serving a different population primarily. I still do work with people with cancer, but to really focus on relationships, because that's something that I've really seen transcend in my own life too. When you're on this journey, your relation and you're working on yourself, the relationships around you inevitably change too. and recognizing how much healing I did to attract beautiful relationships, the love of my life, good relationships with my kids, healed past relationships with family members, amazing friends, and really wanted to bring that to other people, because so many times we use, we are restricted by our beliefs from our relationships traumas, whether that was our family or a teacher, past relationships. So I really love helping people dive into that self-love and reclaim
Mhm.
that awareness of who they are really at soul level, so they can manifest relationships from them. Especially now, we've been so isolated for so long. It's really nice to be in relationship with people and celebrate that.
Right. Yeah, relationships period are so interesting now with, yeah, technology. We can't escape how much that affects our lives. When I go downstairs and I've got any family member, what are they doing? Well, most of the time they're going to be on the phone. You know, they're on the phone. I can get their attention usually pretty quick, like, hey, let's talk, no problem, right? It's not usually an issue as far as that goes, but it changes all these things, like change dynamics in relationship. And then you have all the texting people do and all the social media connections and everything. And so, yeah, everything has its awesomeness and its so-called downsides and everything, right? Like we're more connected and ever throughout the world and all this stuff. And we got all this communication going online. And some of the intimate, deeper moments of our lives aren't as often for a lot of people nowadays, because now it's like, you could have five people or a whole room full of people are all on their phones, not talking to each other. And it's like, hey, wait a minute, maybe we should talk to each other. Like, so busy doing whatever, looking at TikTok or whatever on their phones, and they're not always talking to people. That's for sure. Sometimes they are. They're teenagers. I don't know. Kind of goes both ways. They do communication, but a lot of looking at things too. So it's all fine, but it changes things. We don't have I do feel that likely, I mean, I don't know, I'm not sitting in other people's homes, but I think it's likely that, and maybe it's just in my experience, it seems like some of the relationship energy we have these days seems to be a little bit more authentic and real when it actually is happening. So that's good. There's a little more awakening, I would say, as far as like a real connection and not like some kind of weird dynamics. So yeah, I mean, this is a big category. Let's talk about everything, A to Z relationships in 10 minutes or something. Like we'll be talking forever. Yeah, we talk forever about this. But getting back to what you're saying, maybe I'm on a tangent slightly, but yeah, really increasing the number one connection is with their own self, right? And once we're in that right relationship with life itself and our higher self and all that, I would imagine, in your approach, that's a huge aspect of the approach is once we get connected there, I think you kind of were saying that earlier, like then, wow, they're being better, nicer, they're more loving and kind, right? So tell us about that. How do you work with people? How do you start with hey, we're gonna line up your higher chakras as your drop it into the floor and I don't know. Yeah, yeah. Talk to us about how you kind of.
Yeah, it is very different for each person. I do love the Akashic records as a way for the person to really get kind of that soul profile,
Mhm.
as well as if they want to go deeper and do some clearing work, like let's look at maybe you have hooks and cords from past relationships that you're ready to let go of. I also do a lot of the mind body work. Like I have the person set an intention, say they want to bring a relationship in their life, maybe writing that he is, she is, or they are list for what do you want, what qualities you want. It's really an exercise in self-love too. Because if you're saying you want someone kind and generous and authentic, that is a reflection of you.
Mhm.
So, and really feeling worthy enough to call that in. So work with people on removing the restrictions, or maybe removing the unhealthy patterns that might be in place from past relationships, the wounding, to really get to that core self, like you said, the higher self, really knowing that there's so much more than their past. hopefully they've learned a lot along the way. That's all we can do. So many people get stuck there in blame or in self-blame. So really allowing them to come into that self-love and self-worth and recognizing their own passions and gifts. So many times too, with so many distractions now, like you were saying, with
Right.
the phone and TikTok, and there's this and there's that. People can distract themselves so much they're not taking that quiet time to go in. They don't even know how they're feeling. They're just on it's some Groundhog Day
Mhm.
experience that they're living. I do
Mhm.
think that the last couple of years in isolation, it did shift things to us recognizing what was important. And I do feel like relationships are a little more authentic now, and we recognize what is truly really important to us. And hopefully we all had some time to do a lot of reflecting since we, were isolated for a little bit there, really
Right.
going inward.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today. Yeah, everybody was going nuts with the political energy, is what it seemed like. And then COVID hits, and everybody's going nuts about COVID and the warring ideas about it. But at the same time, people are forced to, okay, you're here every day with your spouse. Now what are you gonna do? Like, right? Here the kids are every day. You're all in the house together. Now what are you gonna do? Right? So, like, one of the beautiful things, even with our family, what we did is we started to do they call it a COVID Olympics or something, and we came up with like fun little silly games, creative games, like who can fly an airplane, the paper airplane, the farthest, or something like different
That's
things. Like,
awesome.
remember that one because that's the one that I won. Like I the other one. So, but we did different things, and we had a chart and everything, and then after a while it petered out pretty fast because it's like I don't know. It's like because you're not used to doing things like that, so you
Yeah.
have to kind of stretch yourself to keep doing certain things when you enjoy it. I find that's so true that people have a good time doing something like we should do this more often, and then they don't because it's not their MO, right? We
Right.
should spend more time together doing these things, or yeah, if it's intimacy or whatever. Oh, well, this is good, but then they don't create the conditions to allow it to happen more or whatever. So yeah, there's so much in this category. I think what you said though, with clearing the patterns within ourselves, that because if you cannot say like I am responsible for my reactions, right? It's like relationships 101. Like you can't say I'm responsible for my reactions, but rather you're responsible for my reactions. Boy, we're really stuck. We can't get free of that one, right? I mean, that's kind of we're kind of stuck indefinitely then.
Yeah, it is. It's important to know like how people affect us, and setting healthy boundaries too is part of healthy relationships and self-love. It's not all about like bubble baths and stuff like that. It really is about
Take your bubble bath. Don't worry about it. Yeah, mom's the same thing then, though. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's more to it. That's for sure. So this deeper work, yeah, I could think like so much of the past, the past, our past lives, our past, this life, right, informs like how we view what's happening right now. So, I mean, I could think about my own past and okay, that kid, he took my, I'm making this one up, but it's along these lines, is Elvis saying, he took my little orange truck or something. And then I felt like everyone's trying to screw me. So screw them. I'll get them. I'll get them all. I'll get them all. I'm going to own all the trucks in the world. And I swear there's billionaires and people like that. Some people anyway, whatever number, but they are motivated. That's what's happened. The monster was awoken inside them. Then they say, look at me, I'm successful. You should all try to be like me. I'm like, whoopsie. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. So it's very interesting. That's where this work in so many levels is so important that you're talking about, right? Getting a right relationship with ourselves and then with each other, and letting everything flow from there. And I love that you have like uh like an intuitive sort of eclectic kind of approach. It sounds like, okay, well, what's the medicine that's needed here is kind of what's coming up when I tune in to how you work with people. So yeah, so you just kind of seem to like you get guided and how to address the
Yeah.
situation. Yeah. Mhm.
and I'm a perpetual student, so I'm always just adding to my toolbox. I
Right.
love learning. I love that there's so many modalities out there because people hear things differently, relate to things differently. So yeah, I've just added to my toolbox shamanism, Akashic record reading, energy work, different
Mhm.
mind body tools, creating different tools. And yeah, pull from that. When I meet with someone, I'll refer different teachers, or different healers if I feel like they're better, at that specific thing.
Mhm.
I have no problem doing that. I really just
Mhm.
want people to feel better. I want people
Yeah.
to really connect with that inner part of them that knows that life can be really good. It doesn't just have to be meh. It can be really good in all different areas. And it does start with that self-love and owning that, really
Mhm.
knowing
Mhm.
that it's okay. It's okay. So many times we're self-sabotaging beings too. We feel like, oh, well, I have a great relationship, so who am I to have money to? Or who am I
Right.
to, I mean, it almost feels like we feel guilty if everything's going so well.
Right.
So really like owning that because it's an inspiration to other people, not feeling badly,
Right.
but really feeling like, yeah, I'm doing this work, and I'm calling this to me because yeah, I'm a divine being and yeah, this is an earth school. I mean, we are meant to learn here. But the beautiful thing is, I mean, even those hard lessons, I know being sick for 7 years, that was my greatest lesson, losing my mom. That was one of my biggest lessons, losing her got me to meditate every day. I tried to do that for years and years and years, wasn't able to do that. But when she passed, I was used to talking to her every day. So that took the place of that calm and peace. So we don't know what blessings, are underneath some of our biggest challenges, but letting that inform us and learning from it instead of feeling like life dealt us, a raw deal and, staying in that
Right.
stuck space.
Yeah, yeah, that happens a lot, right? Well, if this thing didn't happen, I'd be fine. I'd be just fine. My mom didn't say that mean thing to me when I was 2 years old. That changed my whole life. Like, they just had us not said that one thing, I'd be perfect. Yeah, sure. That's an illusion. I mean, everything is this your perspective? My perspective is all the triggers are there for your evolution. I mean, right? I mean, that when we can see it as a gift, like you're actually giving me the biggest gift. We should be like extra thank you for the people triggering us in our life. It's like, oh my God, thank you so much. Then it doesn't matter how you respond. You don't need to stay in the trigger. Oh, it hurts
Right.
so good. Just keep
Exactly.
hurting me up. But no, it's there to help you though, right? I mean, is that I imagine it's usually people it's usually the perspective people have on this that help in the spiritual realm. So yeah, so yeah, so I'm assuming that's true. And then how do you what do you recommend? Like I like to have people get some tips from our people come on even on the energy scan show. So they maybe things they don't think about. Like one thing you mentioned earlier, you mentioned a lot of things, but like just like a more concrete exact tip, like hey, it's not just bubble baths. That yes, it is bubble baths, but it's not just bubble baths, right? So what is it that is boundaries and all that? So what are some things that maybe there's always the basics, but what do you think is like a unique tip or two you have for people in the area of relationships that they're less likely to be thinking about like this is a key, like this is a key thing to hone in on.
I think it's really important to give ourselves gratitude for the journey we've been on, for being here today and waking up, and really tapping into the past memories where we did experience joy. We have no problem going to the bad ones and reliving it 100 times, 200 times. Maybe this
Right.
time will be punishment enough. I don't know what we think, but really like closing your eyes and taking yourself to one of your happiest moments, putting your hands on your heart, really feeling that, feeling the emotion of how it felt to be cuddle with a pet or cuddle with a loved one, or
Mhm.
feeling love, something good that you did for yourself. You took that class, you made that friend, you you did something that you loved, you danced around your living room, like really giving yourself that credit and love,
Mm.
because we are so quick to judge ourselves and berate ourselves, but it's a lot harder. It's very uncomfortable for us to give ourselves that credit and that pat on the back. But if we were treating a kid like that or an animal like that, they would be, not very healthy. So really loving ourselves enough to, even if we do that for like 2 minutes a day, it's 2 minutes we probably would have been in our head about something else. But it really sets that intention, like, I kind of like myself. Yeah, it's joy in the world. I've had good times. I will have more good times. So really putting that energy out of gratitude for ourselves, for an experience we've had, can really invite in more goodness.
Mhm. So what I'm hearing is we pivot into more so that's great. I mean, gratitude as foundation is so important, uh, and not being so hard on ourselves about everything forever. It's like, okay, you're gonna be really hard on yourself, like, great, maybe, but don't stay there. I mean, don't just keep pounding on yourself. That doesn't do any good. I remember, yeah, being really hard on myself publicly once with I'm like, I was on a research team or something in grad school. I'm like, and then I really screwed this thing up, and I was like ripping myself apart like in front of a whole group.
Mhm.
Um, and the professor said, well, I said something, I forget what he said, but it was something like, well, it's good to see you're being really easy on yourself. Like, so what I'm hearing though in all this, where I wanted to go next is, it sounds like your tribe particularly is very hard on themselves, people you're working with, right? So it's
Yeah.
been, right?
That
Yeah,
could be in so many different ways. It
right,
could
right,
be, I've never had a healthy relationship, or I always attract jobs where my boss is mean, or,
right.
there's always some kind of self-dialogue, not liking your body. That's another thing I work with people on, because we tend to be so judgmental on our appearance,
Mhm.
and we don't focus on all the goodness, all the systems that are running in our body, all, even saying thank you. It really is the basis of relationships, is that self-love. So how can we generate that self-love more? It also is about living our passions. What
Mhm.
have we maybe not given time for ourselves to do? A lot of people, oh, I used to draw, I used to paint, I used to dance, I used to do this, but they don't make time for that. And
Mhm.
that is when we're connecting with the soul. That is when we are, kind of taking our mind out of it and really connecting. So I do encourage people to do that too, because when we're living from our soul, that ignites that unconditional love for ourselves, and things will come through us. Maybe it's being in nature, whatever it is that lights you up is something you need to make time for. It's not, it's not oh, maybe I'll get around to that, because it keeps getting put later and later, and you're basically telling yourself you're not worthy of that joy.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that. I have times in my life for years and years and do good with that sort of thing. Probably still, having the issue at the same time, but being really a lot way better with it and really good with it. And then maybe with the lockdowns and everything, that whole lockdown kind of energy of COVID, it's like things that are normally, oh, and then I'll do this, I'll go out and do that. And I just got out of those patterns, so it's
Mhm.
like I haven't brought them back. So I've noticed that I'll come up with like, oh, I'll go do that thing, whatever the thing is. And I'll be like, yeah, I don't know when I'll do it though. Oh, well, I'll get to it eventually. Like, yeah, it goes into that pattern, right? And it's like increasingly what you have to do. You just literally have to say, I'm doing it. Now, when am I doing it? I'm getting out that calendar right now, even if it is going to be a few weeks or whatever. Like, when are you going to do it? Just put it down. Just get it down in your calendar and just commit to it. You'll be so happy. Like, one of the things I avoided a lot last year is going out in the woods and walking. Now, some people do that all the time, but for me, it's pretty somewhat rare. I don't do it very often. I do a lot of walking, but I don't go like out into the woods, kind of walk. So I finally did it. It was, oh my God, some of my highlights last year. I just felt so rejuvenated. It was so it's just so amazing, how a simple walk in the woods, what that does, even on a scientific level, I've heard, right? Like all the energy it moves and everything, and how amazing it is, and it may be exactly what creates the answer prayer in your life, right? Like, right? Right? You're like, it's hard. We have to figure it out. And let me just figure it out. Then I'll get to the woods. Let me figure it out.
Yeah.
Maybe if you go to the woods, it'll just figure itself out. That's been my experience. What do you think, Jenny?
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to leave it. You got to let go of when we're hanging on so tightly. We're not going to get a guided answer. We're going to like force an answer. We might force our way into the next step, but yeah, being in nature, doing something like drawing or that connects us with our soul, things just come in, because you're not like clinging to it and begging. You're just, you are, and we get our guidance when we just are. We allow ourselves to be. And again, not getting distracted by all the things that we are so fun to get distracted by these days.
Right. There's unlimited, right? With the internet,
Unlimited.
phones and stuff. Yeah. Let me get into this other app. Let me read this other article. Let me watch this video. Let me do it. Let me look at just a few more reels. Then 2 hours later, like one more reel. I'm personally not so into the reels, but I can see where people get lost in them. So
yeah.
well, as we're really full hardcore transitioning more directly into the energy scanning part of it, let's talk about where you are with this evolution. So you went focus like as a specialty, like I work with people in this category, cancer and everything you're doing before. Now it's like, okay, now it's relationships. And yes, I do these other things. I do the cancer and all that stuff. So but now it's, relationships, and we're we really look at it deeply, it's kind of all the same thing, right? It's like, okay, it's all self-love, it's all this healing and clearing the resentments and all the stuff that's accumulated in there, right? Because obviously it's not so much and it's a whole nother thing, but it's not so much like, oh, it's the diet it's the radiation, it's that. Yeah, there's a trigger, but there's something else going on. When we clear that, what I'm saying is part of the scan really is like, I know, like that's what you're doing. You're like, no, let's clear the cause, the real cause, like the thing that's in you that created that scenario where you're so sensitive maybe to these things, and then it creates this condition of lack of self-love and therefore bad relationships, poor relationship quality and happiness, and or it creates a health condition or whatever it is. So that's all part of what you made sort of a transition more into the relationship aspect, which is it was just fun for me to feel for you. I'm like, oh, that's fun. That's a new category.
It is fun.
Cancer gets kind of heavy, I would imagine, particularly.
15 years, yeah, got a little heavy.
I mean, I'm sure you're really good, but I'm sure it's a couple of people, may not have made it. I mean, so it's hard. It's got to be so God bless you, for people that are doing that work, and God bless you. So now, yeah, relationships can be hard too, but so yeah, using your gifts, it's like you too. Like I was telling somebody about me, I was like, I'm an alchemist. But you're very much that way too. You're an alchemist, right?
I love that word. Yeah,
right?
it's such a
It's
fun word.
Oh, I see what wants to happen. We, right? Working with people's energy fields and stuff.
I like that word a lot better than healer. Healer never really resonated because I don't do the healing work. The other, the people do the healing work. It's our own healing journey. Alchemist though, I like that word.
There you go. Maybe put that in your marketing now. Right? I'm an alchemist, period. Who knows? We'll see. So tell us about so you do one-to-one, I know, right? So you do one-to-one.
I do one-to-one. I do have a women's circle that meets weekly too. I do classes now and then. I imagine this year I will do a class based around relationships. Because that's where I'm headed. And I do a lot of readings, Akashic readings. I do some shamanic sessions. I do have some clients that I work with a couple times a month on a regular basis. Maybe we're working with it's always the basis is working with themselves first, but maybe they're working on work first, and then they're going to attracting a relationship to them, or diving into a family dynamic that they haven't done work on
Mhm.
so deeply before. So yeah, every journey is a little different. I did just come up with a 3-month relationship program for people to go through with me, which meets every other week. And we do some Akashic clearing as well. As one of the things I do too is I love guiding people to their Akashic records and giving them an attunement so they can use that as a tool for themselves and keep going back, because that's such a cool tool to use to meet your Akashic guides and feel that empowerment. I mean, that is my goal. So people work with me and feel empowered and know that life is gonna be different now.
That's awesome. So you teach people how to access the records and do their own
Yeah.
attunements. That's great. That's great. Not I don't think that's the average. Like the average Akashic Records practitioner, some do, but I don't think the average ones necessarily do that all the time. I mean, I'm not sure, but from what I've seen, I'm not so sure that they do. So that's great. That's a wonderful thing. It feels like you're uh, on the business level. Yes, you have the deeper offerings and ongoing, but a lot of the people, in terms of quantity of people that work with you, they seem to come in more. They might do the class and that might go for a while, but like some of the work, a good portion of the work you do, whatever percentage it is, seems like it's, well, let's get right down to it, let's do the work, and it's like fast. It's like it's not dragged out. Like, well, it sounds like you need my one-to-one hardcore, your program. I mean, we're gonna go really deep. It's a lot of layers here. We're gonna have to really feel them all. You're like, oh, all right, looks pretty simple to me. Let's do a couple of sessions or something like that, and then we'll see from there. And
Yeah.
without you even telling me, that's what it sounds like. The way you do.
Yeah. I want people to feel empowered. I don't,
Yeah. Hmm.
it doesn't serve either of us to have a dependent relationship. This is
Hmm.
about them gaining their power, connection with their inner self, maybe
Hmm.
connection with their own Akashic records, and really continuing to move forward.
Hmm. Okay. All right. And as for our listeners, I don't know if you have it posted on your website. Do you have your prices and whatnot on your website and all
I
that?
do.
I
I
thought
do.
you would, yeah,
And
come
I
across
will,
that
say
type
that
of person, you would have all that stuff there for
I
sure.
have all the prices there. Yeah. And I
Mhm.
do have free offerings too through my community.
That's
And I
good.
will work with people in extreme circumstances too for
Right.
sliding scales. So
Sliding scale. Okay, great. So great. And then if somebody, it depends on what you do, I'm sure, but what generally do you charge for like a session or something, or just curious? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, for an Akashic reading, so the general Akashic reading, which is about probably like a 12-page report, and 2 half-hour sessions with me would be $250.
Okay.
But I have sales too all the time. Or property clearing is like $125. It really depends on what you get
Right.
with me.
Right. Okay. All right. And um yeah, and you've had a lot of clients over the years. I mean, you're not like, well, I wonder, like, I don't have any clients. Like, I'm sure we all run into that maybe at times. So after we work so long, so we have one of these monster machine businesses, right? But it sounds like you have had a lot of clients. You've been pretty booked in most of the time over the years. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it ebbs and flows,
Yeah, exactly.
as
Like you
that.
said, there's ebbs and flows, but
Yeah.
I feel like there's definitely times when you're pretty booked in. I mean, for you, I mean, it doesn't. I'm not
Yeah.
saying are you at least doing 40 clients a week? Come on now, like saying like it feels like for you, you're pretty booked in most of the time, and then maybe there's a big drop off. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But like mostly you work with a lot of people. Is my point. You probably, if you add it up, you think about it, it's got to easily be thousands of people,
Yeah.
I would think, right? Does that seem
It's
accurate?
been thousands of people. Yeah, it's been 15 years, so easily
Yeah,
thousands of people.
yeah. And I say that too, so that uh just to point out like how much experience you have, and experience sometimes doesn't matter, and sometimes it absolutely matters. So I just want to point out you've got a lot of experience as well. Now, the value of that experience is huge. So I love your heart. You want to just like, I don't care, the money, whatever, and like, let's just help you out, all that stuff. I'm not attached to all that. We can't be about that. But then if you're honest, you have another part of you that's like, all right, I need to make some money now. So,
Yeah, I can't give
so
the electric company, property clearing or anything.
I think you
They're
need
harder.
property clear. You don't need my money. So yeah, see, so it's sort of and this is something our listeners would experience almost universally, probably universally, like this heart that just wants to serve versus like the sense of conflict with that, with like, all right, you got to pay up. Come on, let's go. It's time to invest. Come on, pony up. And realizing it's appropriate, it's hard for people with that whole thing. So, but I think it gets back into what you work with the relationship stuff. This relationship it's appropriate. So the level that I perceive you at when I tune into you, the scanning, is you need to pay me something. Okay. You just need to pay me something. Okay. Anything, like, but it's too much like that, in my opinion. Okay. Whereas like for you to be like, yeah, I charge quite a lot. Like, be like, oh, then I get a kind of like, oh, like a little bit of that's going on. Like, oh, you're one of those type, eh? Like, that's often what people are afraid of when they don't charge more. It's like they don't want to be in that category because it doesn't sound like you care now. Oh, you don't care. You care about you and your money. And, like that's more what you care about. And nothing could be farther from the truth with you. Like you're all about, just the work and but yet
Yeah.
you do have a bottom liner in you at the same time, correct? So,
Yeah, I mean, my women's group is donations based,
Mhm.
and there are some women that, give me a little bit of money and some women that can't. And I am okay with all of that because I've been in that place where I couldn't afford something, but really
Mhm.
wanted it and knew it
Mhm.
would really help me. So
Mhm.
I do empathize with that too. But at the same time, yeah, I've done a lot of training. I have a lot of experience. It's nice to have that energetic exchange.
Right, right. Let's see. So what if like this is every energy scan shows different. So we'll probably go into your chakras and everything here in a bit, but right now I'm just kind of more reading your energy overall and doing some coaching here from my intuition. So what I'm getting is like, what if you at least have, you probably have had it at some point, but like maybe you still have it, but I'm not hearing necessarily that you do have a premium offer, like a offer that's like, all right, this is the one you really got to invest in. It's a big money at one. So that's what I would highly encourage you to do um, to raise things up in your business, is to have a premium offer. You don't have to make everything premium. You don't.
So like my 3 month thing, like three
But
month, I mean,
but
that's my premium offer right now, 3 months of
right.
working.
But how much do you charge for that, if I may ask?
1777.
Okay. So it's not, I mean, it's not bad. It's not, but after 15 years, I think it should be higher. Okay. Because this is probably what you love. Oh my God, it was the best thing ever. And, that the feeling, the vibration, it's felt is like, hopefully, right? Most of the time, at least.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a steal of a deal, like, right, right. You love that. You love that because you want them to feel the love of that, right? That they
Mhm.
felt love. That you weren't grabbing for their money. And there's space though in a premium program. It could be that, could be a new offer, but
Mhm.
in that, okay, this is like maybe even geared towards people, like directly marketing to people who maybe have all the money but have all the relationship problems, right? They come with it. Like
Right.
that could be a premium offer, just as an example. It doesn't mean that's what you have to do, but there's
Mhm.
people that are very hard on themselves that are able to succeed with the money. So they got great money, maybe, or they have a lot of money coming in at least, and then they have poor relationships and overall, or in multiple areas or one area at least. So maybe you have a premium offer from them. And the reason why I suggest that is because maybe you'll feel it's more appropriate then, like it's easier for you, right? I mean, they're not like someone like myself. Right now, I'm not working with these type of people, but I wouldn't have a problem asking somebody who is on Medicaid and like doesn't have any money, like, hey, stand in your infinite power, find the money, come back to me when you're ready or whatever. Like, I have no problem doing that. Like, I don't
Yeah,
have a
no,
problem because
that's not.
I don't see them as like not capable. I'm like, you can do this. If not, go. There's free healers, there's low price healers, there's all kinds of options out there. I'm not worried about you. There's resources for you, but this is what it is to work with me. I'm bringing you into your deeper power and all. Like, I wouldn't have a problem with that, right? I wouldn't have a problem. But for you, and I'm not saying, you can do it any way you want. I'm giving you options, just
Yeah.
laying out the cards here. But like you don't have to be like that if that's not your deal in the world. But if you're like, I'm all about universal love and let it be easy and fun in a way, right? And all
Mhm.
like, okay, great, but just make sure you have that one of those offers that's like, wow, it's at least, I know it sounds high compared to maybe what you're charging now, but like a $10,000 offer or something, like have a premium offer, have a higher level offer so that people who, because people who are at certain levels financially and further along in certain ways, they're looking for it, right?
Right.
Okay, who's the guru I need now, or whatever.
Mhm.
And then they come across somebody, and not all of them are like this, but they might be like, oh, it's $1,000 for the program. Okay, I think I'll look for somebody else, like, all right. So what I'm saying is like, this is an option. This is an
Yeah.
option to have an up leveled offer. Like, oh, for people like you, yeah, you need to invest a lot of money. It's 20 grand. Yeah. You're a high roller. You're amazing. Like, I could see you saying that. I could see you being in that energy and
Mhm.
being and feeling like, because there are people that will say no to you otherwise, Jenny. They'll just say, oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you're for real. Like, that's way too
Yeah.
little, like compared to what other people charge in this big, this industry where people charge all kinds of ranges, right? And they're like, okay, I'll go somewhere else. And but rather you could be working with them if you have a premium offer that's tailored to them. So that's a download I'm getting for you is to that's one.
I
Yeah.
I love that idea. I love that idea. And I am confident in my work
Yes.
with people with relationships. That is
Yes.
something
Yes.
that, yeah, I've done in my own life significantly and helped people with. So yeah, I can definitely see that. Where do I find them, Daniel? You got them lined up for me?
All right, that's yeah, we'll line them up for you. All right, yeah. They're all over the place. You probably know them yourself. I mean, they're all over the place. So that's not a problem. There's tons of people, and it's just a matter of creating the way that they would come into. But you have to create the offer too. So there's more steps to take. But I'm saying like this is something to start exploring. Like, okay, if I were
Yeah.
to create an offer like that, what would it be? And then I always say start with the people you know. Like, who do you know? You know people. Almost every single offer that somebody could come up with, if they've been around a long time like you, they already know
Mhm.
people that could be possibly a fit for it. Like, oh, I could reach out to them and let them know I'm up to this thing, and
Yeah.
it's really powerful, bro. Because really powerful people have really powerful egos often, even if they're awake. Like, I got a really powerful ego. I need to be a big investment, like saying consciously or subconsciously. So yeah, I've got the big one for you. We're all ready for you now. Like, okay. So yeah, so that's what I'm recommending on that level. I'm just giving ideas for
I
today.
like that. I love that idea, Daniel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, we're not necessarily fleshing everything out all at once necessarily. So then the other idea I have that maybe you have done to some degree already, but I would go to the possibility at least. You could totally do this and it'd be really awesome. The way you work with people is very unique. Even though it sounds maybe to some people's ears like, oh yeah, Akashic records, healing, but it's unique and it's deeper level of connection in people's energy fields than maybe some other practitioners. So I feel like you have something that you could teach other practitioners. Like, so when you have something you could teach, you could, you could do that. So you could be a trainer. You could be a trainer if you wanted to do that. You could go down that path. That could, again, be something you charge more for. It's a more of a premium offer. And even if it's, well, it's $5,000 offers, whatever, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Just that we would create an offer, you would create an offer, whatever, where you have something like that available. Because think about it, there's people who are like, I would love to be able to feel so confident that cancer people come to me, like I know I could help them and maybe alleviate it or cure them, so to speak, or facilitate the curing, so to speak. Like that, again, it's not about them. I totally, but what I'm saying is like they have the confidence they could facilitate that, right? So that's a huge value. I mean, that's worthy of because the ego, to me, it's ego. Like with my energy scan, I say nobody can do what I can do. Like, and that's true in a way, but it's not true. It's totally not true. Like I've trained all kinds of people, hundreds, if not thousands of people, in smaller ways, how to do it. Like, here's how it works. This is how you do it. And they get testimonies. A lot of my students get testimonies that look just like mine. They're like, "Well, you blew me away. I couldn't possibly believe you know all that stuff about here." So, and I feel like for the right people, again, it has to be the right people. But for the right people that are open enough and are, good fit for you, you could elevate them. You could elevate their healing capacities and abilities. I mean, it'd be other things you could teach them in. So that's another premium offer that could raise things up. And then when you got that going on, like if you're not charging, I probably, at some point here, ask you to nudge up your prices because they're rather reasonable. I put it that. My wife, when I say, "Oh, that's so cheap" or whatever, like someone's rate, she says, "No, it's reasonable. It's because she likes the deal." She's like, "No, it's just really reasonable. It's not cheap." I'm like, all right. So we don't want it that way. We want to raise it up a bit. I totally like, just my own consultation for you on an energetic and business level. I'm totally fine with you having a sort of a charity side, a sliding scale side of your business. That's okay, as long as you operate in a way that, you don't find any consistent resentment about. Like a circle sounds like it's working great. But on a one-to-one level, you have to be careful. Like, okay, when are those couple of cases here and there where I'm feeling kind of resentful about it later? Like when somebody like, "Oh yeah, I don't have any money," and then they give you like $50 for a session, or they have 6 sessions at that rate, and then they say, "You know what? I can't make the 7th session. I just put my money down on a trip to Hawaii, but I'll see you when I get back." Like, right? I guarantee something like that has happened in your life. Like over 15 years, probably. Maybe they didn't tell you, but like they had the money, they had a big story about their money, and then you give a sliding scale. Like, so you just have to watch that. Like, or maybe some other way you become resentful. Like, man, I'm putting a lot and they're only paying. I know, but it's all for love. And, like, so you have to watch, like, yes, I'm totally for that because you have such a big heart. I think it can work for you. I wouldn't say that to everybody though, but I think for you, it can work. And then, yeah, to have so basically what I'm proposing in your business is doing the alchemy I'm doing right now is a whole range. You have it all.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
That sounds really good. That sounds really good.
And maybe I'm saying the trip to Hawaii for somebody else that's listening. Maybe it wasn't you that happened, but we've all had those people. I remember having people, I was talking to them about, I don't know if it was $1,000 off or what it was at the time, and maybe it wasn't even that much. I don't know. I don't remember. But I remember sort of hounding one person about it because they kept saying, "Yeah, do it, but I don't have the money. Yeah, do it, but I don't have the money." So I sort of hounding them just because I see them all the time and be like, "Hey, so you said you're looking for the money. How's it going?" And one day she comes up to me, "I've got the most exciting news to tell you ever. I just signed up for a $10,000 program for life purpose." I'm like, "Oh my God, you didn't tell me all this time it's about money and you don't have the money. And now you just dropped 10 grand with somebody else." So that's why I tell people, like, this is I guess a training thing for everybody too. It's like, you got to be careful when people say they don't have the money. It's not always so true. People are like, wow, you give me a sliding scale. Great. Let me tell you about how I don't have money. Like, there are people like that. I'm just warning everybody out there. Like, don't. And when people say they can't afford it, it's not always true. I'll just say that. We'll get into it. If you want to come into my sales training, we can talk more about how to flesh that out. But anyway, I just want to put that out there. Real quick, I'm going to go through your the time's getting along really fast. I'll do one of my lightning rounds, if you don't mind, on your
Sure.
chakras, and we'll review. Okay. So let's go through the chakras, and I'll talk really fast. Everybody, you can put it on half speed if I'm talking too fast for you. Okay? And Jenny can go back at half speed too if she wants to. Okay, here we go. I just get a little more connection. Oh, okay, just have the fun to do the ritual. Okay. All right. So you're totally like the sense of okay, I don't have to talk fast if I don't want to, but I just get a sense of depth. The depth is just so obvious with you in your crown chakra, and your natural signature really is like, oh, hey, everybody, chill out. Let's let this be connected and easy. Let's have grace and ease here. No one needs to starve. Everyone can have bread, but we need to get into connection and just operate from our heart and from grace, and full connection is what the idea is, rather than like, some people are more designed to like evoke the fire energy, or they're the fairy energies, or this. For you, it's like, just get connected, get grounded in your body, everything works really well. And that's been your path, right? You're okay, I can get more grounded, okay, it's all been part of it, at least. And so, but you're very deeply, there's a lot of deep connection in your energy field with the divine through the crown, and then through your the rest of the body. So energy and whatnot. Okay. There's definitely still some tension in the third eye energy. So it's very tight actually in one point. Like it's like really getting me. So you're good at calculating things, I'm hearing. So you're good at, you're good at the medium, the channel, everything. And I think, okay, you must have relaxed on your side. So relax a little bit at that point I was picking up, but still can feel it subtly. So that subtle energy is, it feels more like a sense of maybe they're like being enslaved, being like, okay, wow, I gotcha. Like you get one thing wrong, damn it, I'm gonna take your head off. I'll take your head off. You get one thing wrong, So there's something going on with your past lives, this life, yes. Okay, I'm here, this life too. I told you to clean that room right, or something like that. So I hear this kind of voice coming through, and there's hell to pay. So it's like, so the third eye is like, it's kind of because of these patterns are still sort of in there for sure. It's a little very, very hyper vigilant in a way to, is the energy good? Is the energy not so good with the people around me? And it's very vigilant on correctness, like getting things correct. The throat chakra, yeah, wow. So there's definitely more openness than I would have maybe imagined at first, because there's a lot more openness. So yeah, you're talking really generally really freely, like so whatever patterns you're in right now, or flows you're in right now, or whatever you want to call them, you can speak, you can articulate yourself well. You're going to be kind, so you're not going to always like put someone like confrontation. You're not going to be like that, but you will eventually speak up. Like you'll hesitate a little bit, but eventually, like, hey, I got something I got to share with you. So you're that style. So it's good. It's healthy. Some hesitation can be good, and it feels like it suits you. Now, if we go into sharing all your deepest wisdom and knowledge of the world full black, like whatever, it depends on the container we look at it. You're like, oh, okay. I gotta do my on his shoulders, and the next there's still some openness there. So there's a real like, I will not be completely shut down on my voice. Like that is definitely installed in there. So that good for you. You've allowed that. You've let that intention be really clear in your field. So that's beautiful. Okay, so like I said, I need to go through a little quickly. There's some heaviness, tightness, chest, solar plex areas. But that, like I said, that heart is just, your heart is so strong. It's just like everybody could throw spears at you, and you're like, it sounds weird, but you'll be like, I love you. You're like, like you'd still be like, I love you. Like that's how strong your love is. It's not fake. It's not like, oh, this is a spiritual principle. I should love them anyway. Let me throw that one in there and kind of bless this thing. Like it's real. It's like more real than that. It's just is. It's just more there's more isness in it. Just yeah. I'm not saying don't get angry. I see the backside of energy, the whatever. I can start swearing. It's like, yeah, I hear all that too, but there's more, but more of that energy pervades more of the universal love unconditionally. It's beautiful. So in the okay, that power center is where I was saying the chest feels like it's relaxing in this moment, but I think that's the persecution, boiled alive, or whatever kind of vibes and stuff. And the power center, it almost feels like if you had a baby, you're like protecting, like, okay, you're not gonna get my baby though, or something like that. That's part of it. And then let's see. So it's a physical sort of protection feeling in there. And then let's see what else is it doing. Yeah. I don't know. You just like you can't get at my power. You're not going to take my power away from me. So those are those boundaries. Really strong. Got really strong because they had to for survival, human survival. So, okay, let's see what else is going on there with that. Yeah, there could be, like I said, you have the easy flow in there too. So more of that could be utilized in that center. So in some ways you're in easy flow, and other times you're a perfectionist, and it's all got to be exactly right, like I was talking about earlier. So that's also in the power center, like can be too tense, it can be too much, and like, but part of you always knows, like, it's not supposed to be so damn complicated and hard. Yeah. So let's see let's go down to the sacral. Sacral, yeah, like there's like whole new like galaxies and universes or worlds or whatever like that could be born and experienced for people. And there's like sort of a closed energy around it though. It's like, yeah, I could, but I don't know, or people, am I ready for that? Are they ready for that? Or something like that. So you have some more to bring into the world on an energetic level to open portals of energy for people to experience. You may maybe do it sometimes and to a degree, but there's protection around it of, I don't know. I'm not quite sure if I'm ready for that. I don't know if they're ready for it. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't too. Maybe I just shouldn't go there. So I've noticed that in that center. So what's the so anyway, I'm just recommendation is like just to find more of an outlet for that. Talk maybe later about that. The root chakra, yeah, overall, definitely there's some grounding there for sure. So cleared a lot of trauma. Yeah. So showing me that. And yeah, I mean, you're reasonably grounded in general. So yeah, yeah, it's good. That's good. They're showing me like no matter what's going on, like most of the time you're still reasonably grounded. So that's good. Because you've found and the teacher has been again danger and bad things happening when you weren't ungrounded. So you've learned like, no, stay grounded, like, and you may not be thinking it all the time, but it's in your energy now. You're like, okay, kind of leaving your body. We know that bad things can happen then, so it's like, nope, stay grounded. Okay, so that's a strength. And so that's important too with the work you do with different energies and with mediumship and things like that. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there just because of our time. We're trying to keep it in a certain time frame here today. So Jenny, any quick comments or reflections on some of the things coming through the scan of the chakras and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, seem right on. I mean, I do, my mom was that example of unconditional love, and I really do try to emulate that. My most disliked emotion to go to is anger, so I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, I do have that Leo lioness in me too. Won't be, I'm not afraid to speak my truth. That was a lot of work actually on that one, but
Yeah.
on the throat chakra. So I really feel, very happy that that is so open. And I love to write and express that way too.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, the groundedness, I love dancing, walks, that kind of stuff. Second chakra feels like it's just always, that's second, feels like there's layers and layers and layers. I've peeled and there's more to go,
Right,
so
right.
it's a
It's a
pretty
deep one.
loaded one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, and feel very connected. Yeah, sixth chakra, I'm interested in learning more there. I definitely feel like I still haven't gotten all the persecution I've kind of faced in different lifetimes, and that feeling of stepping into my power, that's kind of associated with the third chakra, and
Mm-hmm.
also that sixth, like really seeing things clearly, without, yeah, without being afraid to, always call myself that recovering perfectionist, recovering people pleaser. So without allowing that stuff to affect me.
Mm-hmm. Right. Got it. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Wonderful. So yeah, you've got you've got that really, again, that casual energy, which is really nice and really appealing, right? It's different. It's real, it's authentic. Um, like when you're like literally, if I told you, yeah, I just walked on water, you'd be like, yeah, that's how it works, like to kind of yell you up, right?
Oh, I want to see a video of that.
Pretty excited, but you got that like, yeah, it's chill, let's check it out, like kind of vibe to you anyway. So I think that's fun. So because I always say, like, if people make too big of a deal of stuff, it's like it keeps you missing it, like, whoa, my God, it's so incredible. Okay, now you're not able to see what's really going on now. Right? I mean, it's fun to be in that state, but like, okay, you might be missing what's really going on now, though. So anyway, I like that about your energy. And okay, so I like all the different energies, but I like that about you. So from there, yeah, I just want to start wrapping up by just talking about, I think it's cool. I'm glad I did the chakra thing because you do a lot with the chakras. So
I
uh,
love chakras. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I know you have a free gift you wanted to share with everybody today. I want to go ahead and tell them about it.
Yeah, it is a 7-day free course, Reawakening Self-Love Through the Chakras. So each day you get a very short couple paragraph summary on the chakra and exercise to do. I believe in short, easy exercises. So they won't be more than like 10 minutes of your time, as well as an affirmation. So each day one is released. And then the 8th day you get a guided chakra meditation. So that's all for free, just for, subscribing.
Great, great. Yeah, a specialized URL for you also in our show notes, so you can check it out there. Or I think you could probably they can probably find it right on your website too. Is that right? Or
Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
yeah. So you can also find it there at Jenny Mannion .com, and you can see how to spell the name and everything right on wherever you're listening. So I don't need to do that part. Okay, it seems like, yeah, like back in the old days when I did teleseminars and stuff, it's like sometimes like literally the name wasn't posted somewhere yet. So it'd be like, okay, let me spell their name for you. And those old dinosaurs, I mean, I don't know, it's only been a couple decades online, but it seems like it's forever in online time by now. So
Yeah, it does
so
seem like it's been a while.
yeah, how fast things change and everything. So all right, wonderful. This has been so wonderful doing this with you. If people want to check me out, you can go to yoursacredpurpose.com after you go check out Jenny, of course. And then when you get there, there is the opportunity to get a Rock Your Sacred Purpose energy scan consultation. Will it be exactly what you saw today? No, but it will have some similarity to it. And it's a real service. It goes a little deeper. It does go a little bit deeper. but it's similar to what you're seeing here. It just goes a little deeper, So check that out at yoursacredpurpose.com. Rock Your Sacred Purpose Energy Scan Consultation. I have to remember to say, only if you're ready to rock, take advantage of it. There is an actual investment you have to make to get the session. And yeah, so because it is an actual session. I think about the one I did yesterday, and it was a real session. Like, that person is very happy. Like, she was confused about something. Like, I don't know how to message this thing, or I'm sure she wouldn't say her voice was like that at all, but like, I could feel it in her energy. Like, I don't know how this is working. And it's like, in no time flat, we figured it out with me just bringing attention and awareness. So like, no, this is how to go about this. This is simple. I'm like, oh yeah, and her whole body lit up and everything. So isn't it? Yeah, you're like, yeah, that's the best. I know that feeling. So check that out at yoursacredpurpose.com, or get the free Meditate and Make Money meditation to open up your energy and chakras with money, and get your downloads each and every day. And you'll see it works. I'm telling you, just check it out. All right, so Jenny, looking to wrap things up at this point, but do you have any last words you want to share with the show for the show before we close out?
I want to thank you, Daniel, for your time and for your inspiration, sharing other people's, gifts and specialties with people. And yeah, just really encourage people to love themselves, to honor themselves, bring in that joy, make that time for themselves. It's so important. So important.
You do need some bubble bath time. Come on now. You need all of that good stuff. All right. So, all right, everybody. I'm so grateful for you all tuning in. And like I always say, keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking to hear Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till next time.
Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.